Inscriptions, some don't. For example, Kuranganil Muttam doesn't have any inscriptions, not of Mahendra. They have later inscriptions of the Rashtrakuta king, and we'll come to that when we go there. We'll talk about it. This temple is famous. This wall and this inscription here is famous because it's a very long inscription. Unlike all the other inscriptions except in Trichy, which are really short, this is a really long inscription, and it seems to have had great importance to Mahendra because it is so near his capital Kanchipuram, right? This first group of hills you are seeing outside Kanchipuram. So he has experimented. We don't even know if this is something that he experimented. We don't know if he built this before even going to Mandagapattu, which is much farther away. Here, he says he experimented with music and taught his queen a new type of music that he invented. He very clearly says this. He invented some aspects of music. Okay. There is a detailed inscription in a place called Kudumiyan Malai near Pudukottai. That Kudumiyan Malai has a long inscription with variations of the 7 swaras. The swaras are called gramas then, Shadjamak grama, Rishabhak grama, Gandhara grama, etc. And he is talking about 4 variations for each. So it's Sarigama Padani, right? He says Sa, Su, Se, Si. Ra, Ri, Ru, Re. So the 4 variations on each. What this is, no musicologist has been able to crack yet. Okay, there are researchers on it. We don't know if it is that is Mahendra at all. There are some people who think it is Mahendra, some people who think it must be some Pandyan king, some people who think it's a musician who commissioned it. But no other person has messed around, talked about this kind of stuff in his inscriptions, that he created new variations in music, and that's the only thing we have that seems to go along with that. It's also in Pallava Grantham, it's in Sanskrit, it's very similar to the script here. So he talks about teachings. In the Rockfort temple and in the Pallavaram temple, there are very unusual titles. You expect Vichitra Chitta, that we saw in Mandagapattu. Lakshita, we saw that in Mandagapattu. Right? Dalavanur, he uses the word Satrumalla. Okay, and the temple is called Shatrumalleshwaram. Shatrumalla is enemy of, the defeater of the enemies, right? And Shatrumalleshwara is somebody who, in this place, this temple, he uses 3 names, Shatrumalla, and a couple of other names he uses. Okay, in Rockfort, he uses several more words. He uses the word Chitrakara Puli. Chitra is painting, not Chitra is painting or sculpture, but he calls himself Chitrakara Puli. And here he mentions that he is Chitrakara Puli also. That is, he is an innovator and master of painting. So he's invented something new in music that he's taught his wife. Why only his wife, we don't know. He is a master of painting. It's a claim that he makes himself. That he is Vichitra Chitta, the curious thinker. We have seen that. All these titles, Satya Sandha is another title that he gives. So some of these words, Satya Sandha is a word for Shiva, by the way. So he uses several words that are applied for Shiva for himself. He calls himself Sthanu, for example. Sthanu, we know, is Shiva. But he calls himself also Sthanu, and even in Trichy, he gives an explanation of why he calls himself Sthanu. He says, I have created a sculpture of Shiva on this rock, and he will be permanent. So he will become Sthanu. So because I made him Sthanu, I am also Sthanu. So he kind of makes a pun like that. Yeah. So he kind of weird this thing. Okay. There is a greater interpretation. There is an interpretation that in that Gangadhara, Shiva looks not like a mendicant, but like a king. He's got a crown and all jewels, no snakes and all that. He looks very royal rather than the ascetic that we are accustomed to Shiva. So there are one or two scholars who think that is Mahendra's face etched as Shiva. Okay, and so he made himself Sthanu by putting his face on, right? Or whether that is really true, we don't know. So I'm a little skeptical. There is another where there's a sculpture of a person kneeling in front of Shiva, and they think, like you conjectured yesterday, could this be the king? That could be Mahendra, and so he makes himself Sthanu because he put his own sculpture over there. So there are different interpretations. So there is other names like Mahendra Vikrama, right? Vyavasayi. Vyavasayi today means, in Tamil it means farmer. But what does the word actually mean? In Malayalam, do you know what it means? It means entrepreneur, businessman. Malayalam, the word Vyavasai means, so that's what it is. Vyavasai is actually a Sanskrit word. Most Tamils don't know this. The Tamil word for farmer is Ulavan or Velalan, water manager. Vyavasai is somebody who's trying something new, right? So he's something trying. He also calls himself, remember, Vichitra Chitta is somebody creating new. He calls himself Vambu. What is Vambu? Vambu today means gossip. In ancient times, it is what is a new matter in your listing. So gossip is how news spread. So something novel to come there. So he uses other words like mlayu, vlapu, and all this stuff. It seems to be some ancient